Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and all the good stuff. Today we're going into the story of Susan Powell. Now this comes with a bit of a trigger warning, so it's a pretty sad story. Just to sort of give you the heads up, I won't feel offended if you click out now. So let's get into it. Susan Powell was born on the 16th of October 1981. She met Josh around sort of November 2000-ish, give or take. However, they did marry pretty soon on in April 2001. Now, after they were married, they did move in with Josh's father. This was a bit strange, to say the least. Not the fact that they're moving in. A lot of young couples do move in with parents after marriage. It was just how he was with her.
Videotaping important events, weddings, graduations.
Josh, wave. There you go.
But look closer at these moments captured on camera, and you'll see a startling pattern. Regardless of the occasion, Steve Powell focused his lens on one thing.
Hold your hand up, please.
Susan.
Great. Now we will no longer look at your fingers. We will look at you.
Great.
Now, that's Susan. There's Josh. We want her.
As you saw by that video, he was obsessed with her. Every time that she could possibly be available to him, to stare at, to perv at, to stalk at, he did it. He utilized every single second, filming her when she wasn't there, putting secret cameras in the bathroom, bedroom, and he very much, was infatuated with this young girl. Now, later on, that sort of comes into play a little bit more, but it became such a huge obsession with this that she became very, very uncomfortable. They did end up, however, moving out after some more strange things happened, shall we say. After moving out, they had their first son, who was born in 2005, named Charlie. In 2007, another son was born named Brandon. She wrote a lot about how her life was within her marriage. They were members of the Church of Latter-day Saints, which is Mormon. I think there was sort of a lot where he was concerned of wanting her to behave and act a certain way, which, in most cases, women do what women want to do. I find it really, really weird, some of the things that she did write in the diaries. She sounded very fearful of what would happen if she didn't, obey him and do what she was told to do. She also did like a video diary of what, if anything happened to them, what properties they had, so computer screens, that kind of thing, which again is pretty weird if you ask me. They had their first child in 2005 named Charlie, and the second child, Brandon, in 2007. Now, his dad didn't get any easier with how creepy he was, even in his diary entries. It was all infatuation about her. Everything was about her. Everything was, Susan. It was the most strangest thing ever for a father-in-law to be that infatuated with his son's wife. Is pretty creepy, and I can imagine how she felt through that time. We notice these things probably more than men realize. We do notice the perving, we notice the weirdness. She also wrote diary entries and spoke to friends about how she felt around, in that environment. She also, said how that it was very much creepy. She felt creeped out. Her husband didn't help her. I think he just thought this was normal behavior.
We're too close.
Steve's own journals reveal his infatuation became perversion and persisted through the years.
As you'll see with his entries, it was creepy, and it went as far back, bearing in mind she had her first child in 2005. One of those entries that you saw was at 2003. So this went on and on and on for many, many years. She would speak to her friends and say how much of a strange relationship she had with her husband. I can only imagine what she must have felt like. Normally you go to your husband for things like that, and she obviously couldn't because of, well, how he was, and she must have had some fear in that. And although looking at this picture, she does look very, well, happy and content. I call it like Facebook family, because you see on Facebook, you see all these pictures of this perfect family, and in reality, there's no such thing. And I can imagine this is probably what it was. She was content with her children, but had so much else going on in her mind. And she must have been fearful of something, because she went on to document her belongings and his belongings, so like computers, etc. And she actually videotaped her doing this.
This is me, July 29th, 2008. It is 12:33 Mountain Time. Covering all my bases, making sure that if something happens to me or my family or all of us, that our assets are documented. Hope everything works out and we're all happy.
During the last few months before her disappearance, Susan and her husband would spend more time with the father, even though she, from the sounds of it, didn't really want to. So at some point she got super sick. She was really lethargic. She could hardly keep her eyes open, etc., etc. Her father-in-law offered to rub her feet to make her feel better, whatever the scenario was. Whether Susan was too exhausted, too sick to even care at this point, I don't know. I'm guessing so, because as women, we sense creepy, and we generally don't want people touching us who are creepy. So I'm guessing that she was just so sick she couldn't even be bothered to fight or argue her case, so she just allowed him. Somewhat after this, though, a video came to light.
What is probably the most erotic experience I've had in my entire life. I just hate to say it. I mean, of course, because I haven't had that many experiences, but Susan has been feeling ill. She had a cold, and I offered to rub her feet, to rub her toes, to give her some stimulation. That went on. I probably rubbed her feet. Her toes are beautiful feet. She has such pretty feet. Of course, everything about her is pretty beautiful. And I know she felt it. I know she couldn't have missed it. She's not naive either. I know from what I've read in her journals. That girl is not naive. When I started massaging her legs, I would have loved to go all the way up her legs, but I did do her calves, because her feet were resting in my crotch, so I sort of rubbed her calves. She didn't seem to mind at all having me that close. I mean, I was close. I was touching her with my crotch. It's hard to remember everything I did. And I love that woman. She is so beautiful. I can't even get enough of her. Can't get enough of looking at her. She's so pretty.
Now, sometime after that, there was a conversation between Susan and her father-in-law. It was, to say the least, the most weirdest conversation ever. You just don't expect it, I suppose. When you get married, you married the man that you love. You don't expect to have to deal with this kind of creepy, this kind of like, holy moly, what have I got myself into when you enter a family as a in-law. I don't know, I just think it's really creepy.
6 months ago was just, I know that, it was a massage, right? But just being with you for 2 hours and holding you, and maybe I'm getting the wrong signals from you. Maybe I'm interpreting something that I shouldn't be interpreting. It just, for example, when we were sitting on the couch, it just felt like you were very, I was extremely aroused, and I think you were somewhat aroused, at least I thought.
I don't know where you're going with this.
Susan, I'll tell you where
I'm married to your son, and I should just be the daughter-in-law.
I know.
Which puts me a step beneath your own children.
Fast forward into the morning of the 6th of December 2009. At first, the families thought that the whole 4 family members were missing and called the police. However, that day around the sort of 5 p.m. mark, Josh showed up with the kids, claiming that he'd left his wife sleeping, that he went camping. There was a load of different scenarios that he went through. However, it's December. You've got 2 tiny children. Like in 2009, the oldest would have been 4. You're not going to take a little one of that age in the midst of December camping. And the police thought that was super strange and was like, this is just so weird. How have you been camping? Like, what the heck is going on? They was taken in, obviously, for interviews and like, where the hell is your wife? What the heck is going on? They even did question the little boy, which gave some interesting answers, to say the least.
So your mom stayed at the park. Where did she stay at the park? Do you know where?
She stayed at the National Park.
Do you know where at the park? No?
No.
After talking to the children, obviously the police was like, oh, okay, so mummy was in the trunk. That's interesting. They then obviously went and talked to Mr. Josh himself.
One of our detectives just interviewed your children, and your children are telling our detectives that Mom went with you guys last night, and that she didn't come back.
She did not go with us.
Okay, well, with that, just getting that information, you're not going to go anywhere. I'm not going to let you leave. I'm going to detain you. You sit right here. If you want a lawyer and you want to talk, or you want to change your mind and talk, or take a CPS test, then we can do those things. But
now, with that in mind,
They know that she didn't go with us.
well, here's the thing. Kids are very honest. That's one thing I've learned in the years of doing this job. That when kids talk to us, we'll listen because they're honest. And they never lie. They don't make things up. So if they're saying they were with you, they were with you. Okay? I mean, she was with you. So I have to believe the kids. So now it's going to be up to you if you want to help us find her and help us get to the bottom of what really happened here. That's what we're here for, okay? We're going to find out either way, with your help or without your help. I honestly don't need your help. I feel confident enough in my investigation and his investigation and everybody else involved. We have great detectives in this department that will find out what happened. We'll get to the bottom of this with your help or without your help. So I want to give you the opportunity to help us and tell us what really happened. Because you're the only one that knows.
Nothing that happened. She was not with us. And if my kids said that...
So your kids lie then? Do your kids lie?
Sometimes they do. I mean, if they said that she was with us, they know that's not true.
So if they
And
say...
if they said that she was with us, then I guess that would put her out at Pony Express.
Okay, and that's my concern.
Sadly, no one was arrested for Susan's disappearance / murder, even though the police suspected that the father, Josh, and Josh's brother was involved in this, there was never any arrests actually made from this. For all intents and purposes, you know, they feel like they've got away with absolute murder. After all the investigation and, you know, no arrests, etc., Josh then moved back to his father's house where his brother and his father lived. Now, obviously, there was still a huge shadow over him where the disappearance of his wife was. Everyone was still pointing the finger and sort of sniggering, was it them kind of thing. During this time, it was around the 2010 mark that police went with a warrant and raided the father's house. They seized computers, they seized, you know, a bunch of other things. However, on this computer was images that no normal human would want to see. He was arrested. After looking further in, it became quite clear, after what we've already seen, obviously we already know, but it was quite clear how infatuated this bloke was. The police also took the dogs through their vehicles to check for decomposition. They did find it in the brother's car or truck, but again, there was no sort of DNA, nothing that they could actually test to check what was, I don't know, what that they could get up, if that makes sense. He, like I said, he was arrested and charged. He was sent to jail. During this time of the investigation, though, obviously the children, well, people worried about the children. So Susan's parents filed for custody of the boys. They got granted. They were, you know, yeah, get the boys out of that house while all this is going on. There's obviously something untoward going on. And he was still suspected in the disappearance of his wife. During this time, Josh was told that he obviously had to move out of his family home if he was to get any sort of access to the children, which he did. But for all what I've read, that he didn't actually live there. He would just sort of set it up in the pretenses of, see, I've got my own home. He went through some psychological testing, blah, blah, blah. He was allowed visitation, but it was supervised visitation. So while the children were with the grandparents for, you know, 99.9% of the time, he was allowed this supervised contact. Now, her parents didn't want to organise this contact, and to be fair, I don't blame them one little bloody second, but a social worker was then sort of put, okay, you do the supervised visit. This happened in Josh's new house where he would get the supervised visits. Now, on this one day, the children rolled up with the supervised lady. Josh came out of the house, sort of gripped the two boys super, super fast. By the time the social worker got out the car, sadly, he'd took the boys inside and locked the door and would not let the social worker in.
Parent, the biological parent, whose name is Josh Powell, will not let me in the door. What should I do?
What's the address?
It's 8119, and I think it's 89th. I don't know what the address is.
Okay, that's pretty important for me to know.
Sorry, I can't. Just a minute. Let me get in my car and see if I can find it. Nothing like this has ever happened before at these visitations, so I'm really shocked. And I could hear one of the kids crying, but he still wouldn't let me in. Okay, it is just a minute, I have it here. me by GPS?
No.
Okay, it is, I still can't find it. But I think I need help right away. He's on a very short lease with DSHS, and CPS has been involved. And this is the craziest thing. He looked right at me and closed the door. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am. I'm just waiting to know where you are.
Okay. It's 8119 189th Street, Court East, Puyallup, 98375. And I'd like to pull out of the driveway because I smell gasoline and he won't let me in.
You want to pull out of the driveway because you smell gasoline, but he won't let you...
He won't let me in.
He won't let you out of the driveway?
He won't let me in the house.
Whose house
He's got
is
the
it?
kids in the house and he won't let me in. It's a supervised visit.
I understand. Whose house is it?
Josh Powell.
Okay, so you don't live there, right?
No, I don't. No, I'm contracted to the state to provide supervised visitation.
I see. Okay. And who is there to exercise their visitation?
I am. And the visit is with Josh Powell.
And who
And
supervises?
he's the husband that I supervise.
So you supervise and you're doing the visit?
Yeah,
You're
I
supervising yourself?
I supervise myself. I'm the supervisor here.
Wait a minute. If it's a supervised visit, you can't supervise yourself. If you're the
I
visitor...
do supervise myself. I'm the supervisor for the supervised visit.
Okay, well, aren't you the one making the visit? Or is there another
I'm the
parent
one-
that you're supervising?
No, I'm the one that supervises. I pick up the kids at their grandparents.
Yes. And then who visits with the children?
Josh Powell.
Okay, so you're supposed to be there to supervise Josh Powell's visit with the children.
Yes, that's correct.
And how did...
And he's the husband of missing Susan Powell.
How did...
This is a high-profile case.
How did he gain access to the children before you got there?
I was one step in back of them.
Okay, so they went into the house and then he locked you out.
Yes, he shut the door right in my face.
All right, now it's clear. Your last name?
My name is Elizabeth Griffin Hall.
Griffin Hall is hyphenated?
Yes.
And what's your phone number, Elizabeth?
This cell phone number is 360-990-9955.
And what agency are you with?
Foster Care Resource Network. And the kids have been in there by now approximately 10 minutes. And he knows this is a supervised visit. 2. Braden is 5 and Charlie is 7.
And their dad's last name?
Powell, P-O-W-E-L. L.
2 L's? 2 L's at the end of Powell?
Yes.
His first name?
His first name is Josh.
Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, native?
He's white.
Date of birth?
I don't know. He's about 39.
How tall?
5'10", 150 pounds.
Hair color?
Brown.
Did you notice what he was wearing?
No, I didn't notice what he was wearing.
Is he alone then, or is anybody...
I don't know. I couldn't get in the house.
Are you in a vehicle now or on foot?
I'm in a vehicle. I'm in a Prius, a
color?
2010 Prius,
What color
with
is
the doors locked. But he hasn't opened the door.
Ma'am,
I rang the
careful.
doorbell and everything.
What color
I
is
begged him to let me in.
Elizabeth, please listen to my questions. What color is the Toyota Prius?
Gray, dark gray.
And the license number?
I don't know. I can look. 250ZMH.
Zebra Mary Henry?
Yes.
All right, we'll have somebody look for you there.
Okay, how long will it be?
I don't know, ma'am. They have to respond to emergency, life-threatening situations first. The first available deputy
Well,
is
this could be life-threatening. He went to court on Wednesday, and he didn't get his kids back. And this is really, I'm afraid for their lives.
Okay, has he threatened the lives of the children previously?
I have no idea.
All right, we'll have the first available deputy contact you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hello?
Hi, ma'am. Were you calling about the fire in the 8200 block of
Yes,
188th
he
Street,
exploded
Courtney?
the house.
Ma'am,
Yes,
do you know
he exploded the house.
Okay, do you know the exact address of the house, or are you
Yes,
supposed
it's 8119 189th Street, Court East,
Okay,
2 hours.
okay, stand line. Do you know if anyone's in the house?
Yes, there was a man and
Okay.
2 children. I just dropped off the children, and he wouldn't let me in the door.
Okay, stand line for the fire department. Okay, I'm going to get them on the line. Do not hang up. Hold on. Stay on the phone here with me, ma'am.
There's County Fire Medical Aid.
Hi, fire. This is Rose. Lisa, transferring a lady who has an exact address of the house that is on fire there in the 188th Street, Court East neighborhood.
Yes? Okay, what is gave them that exact address? I dropped it, sorry. Just a minute. I can hear the fire trucks, but they're not here yet. It's 8119. There. What? We have an engine there. And people are saying there's not somebody here, but I was just there, and there is somebody here. There's 2 little boys in the house, and they're 5 and 7, and there's an adult man. He has supervised visitation, and he blew up the house and the kids. The kids and the husband and the father were in the house? Yes, he slammed the door in my face. So I kept knocking. I thought it was a mistake. I kept knocking, and then I called 911. You saw him go back into the house when the flame, right before the flame? He didn't ever leave the house. He just opened the door. The kids were 1 step ahead of me. They're 5 and 7. They were 1 step ahead of me, and he slammed the door in my face. And you think he might have done this intentionally? Yes. Okay. County, go ahead with what you need. I'll pass that on to my...
Thank you very much, fire. Ma'am, what is your name, please?
I'm Elizabeth Griffin Hall, and I'm the supervised visitor.
Okay, hold on. Elizabeth, hold on just a moment, ma'am. Okay, so your last name is Griffin what?
Griffin Hall, Griffin Hall, Hall.
Okay, and your phone number 360-990-9955 is your personal cell number. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
correct.
Where are you at right now?
I'm at 81112 on the same court.
Okay, so you're waiting down the street at 8112 109th Street Court, 189th Street Court East.
Yes.
Okay. And are you in your car?
I was in my car. I'm standing outside it right now.
Okay. Is that your home? Is that your home address?
No, that's not my home address. I was the supervised visitation coordinator. I picked the children up. Parents.
What is this person's name?
His name is Josh Powell.
I'm not sure if anyone else feels the same as me, and I'm probably going to get a bit of slack for this, but I genuinely want to punch that 911 operator in the face. Like, I'm not even kidding. He spent 10 minutes on the phone. She's frantic. Like, help, 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 help. And he's there, just answer the questions, ma'am. I'd be like, why don't you just get a freaking officer at you, you piece of shit? I hope he lives with that guilt. I really do. And I know this is really nasty and I don't even care. I hope that he lives with that guilt, that that's his fault. He was obviously bored of his job. He didn't want to be there anymore. And he was just like, yeah, whatever. I hope he lives with that guilt forever. I really, really do. I hope he lives with that guilt forever, and I hope it still traumatizes him to this day. Am I a bitch? Yeah. Do I care? No. Anyway, on to the story before I lose my temper altogether. So, as you heard by that, she was frantic. He wouldn't let her in the house, and just a short little while later, there was more 911 calls.
Ma'am, were you calling about the fire in the 8200 block of 188th Street, Cortese?
It's just after noon on Sunday. This frantic caller to 911, a social worker witnessing the unspeakable.
And you think he might have done this intentionally? Yes.
It's a moment of crisis, one she tried to prevent moments earlier in another call to 911, after dropping off Josh Powell's 2 sons for a supervised visit.
Something really weird has happened. The kids went into the house and the parent will not let me in the door. What should I do?
The call lasts 7 minutes, the operator asking her name, the color of her car, ignoring her urgency.
But I think I need help right away, and this is the craziest thing. He looked right at me and closed the door. Are you there? I smell gasoline and he won't let me in.
In a by-the-book approach, she's told officers can't respond immediately.
Ma'am, they have to respond to emergency, life-threatening situations first.
Well, this could be life-threatening. I'm afraid for their lives.
We know now inside a crazed father is butchering his children and setting off an inferno, 10 gallons of gasoline.
He blew up the house and the kids. He didn't ever leave the house. He just opened the door. The kids were one step ahead of me. They're 5 and 7. They were one step ahead of me, and he slammed the door in my face.
Instantly, a flood of calls from neighbors.
Fire, there's a house on fire explosion.
The house just blew up and it's on fire.
Firefighters take just 3 minutes to arrive. At nearly the same time, Powell's sister Alina is also calling 911, terrified. She's just received his final voicemail.
I am not able to live without my sons. I'm sorry to everyone I've hurt. Goodbye.
I'm terrified to drive over. I'm afraid of seeing something. I don't want to see it.
Though he took their lives, he won't get to keep them. The boys' grandparents are planning their funeral for Saturday, and their only measure of relief is that the boys are with their mother now.
Sadly, the fire just took over the house super fast. The cause of death was carbon monoxide, but also wounds with a hatchet. Whether he tried to kill them before the fire got to them, I really don't know. But either or, they're both pretty horrific ways to die for a 7 and a 5-year-old. The authorities did notify his father, Stephen, whilst he was in jail. To be fair, he didn't care. He was just so pissed off that they'd disturbed him. How dare they disturb his sentence, whatever he was doing? How dare they? Absolutely incredible. Just so crazy that I just can't even. It was so premeditated, and I just wish that 911 caller had listened to that person, because she clearly knew what the frig she was talking about. And it's just heartbreaking, really is. I don't know. A few months after this, Stephen was released from prison in 2017. Michael, the other one that was thought to have killed Susan, he killed himself a year later. Susan has been declared dead and been taken off the missing persons register. I think it's perfectly clear what they did, and I think it was all 3 of them. I think Stephen's motive was different to Josh's or Michael's. Michael, I think, was just helping his brother and dad. Josh did it because he wanted his boys to himself and didn't want her anymore. And I think Stephen's motivation was that if he couldn't have her, nobody could, as he was so damn infatuated with her. It's such a sad story. You know, these 2 little boys lost not only their mom, but then, you know, within just a short space of time, they lost their own lives. it seems so sad. Really, really sad. What a horrific story. That's just heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and all the good stuff. And I will catch you on the next one. Bye, guys.